Blog Talk Radio.
He is the last of his kind. All that remains of a once powerful nation. Some think he is a myth. Some believe he is the chosen one, who will bring balance to a world at war. And some will stop at nothing to destroy him.
Welcome, everybody, to Morris Talk Live 100. I'm your host, Tarhaka Amana El Bay, and tonight's broadcast is entitled The Myth of the Crucifixion of Christ Exposed. Our special guest is Dr. Walter Williams. We'll be dealing with a few, much more than the following questions. Did the crucifixion of Christ really happen? Is a lie your friend? When in history did a crucifixion of Christ happen? What evidence outside the Bible do we have to prove that a Christ was crucified? What happened in ancient Egypt? Did a Jesus Christ ever exist? Okay, let's look at it this way. Now, this is the way I look at it. We have the remains of dinosaurs. That's something we can see, we can touch, all over the world, been found. And the mummies of the ancient African Egyptians, they're in the museums of London, they're all over Egypt. We can see them, we can touch them. And ancient giants, they've been unearthed. But where are the remains of any biblical characters, or the family members for that matter, of such people as Adam, Eve, Moses, Abraham, Jeremiah, Jacob, Isaiah, Jesus, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John? Where the graves at, man? I mean, you mean to tell me, out of all the characters in the Bible, we can't find not one of them? But we can look and see and touch dinosaurs that's been dead over millions of years ago? Come on, man. Anyway, we're going to get down into this matter, and we're going to be opening up the phone lines later on. The number to dial into the broadcast is 319-527-6084. What is this? You got to change the number on me. 319-527-6084. Okay, it used to be 310. Okay, so they done switched that on me. Oh, man, that messed me up pretty bad. Okay, so let me go back over here and edit this business here. And we're going to have to get this here stuff straightened out. They pull a slick one on. Boy, they trying to stop this thing here tonight. 319. Okay. They put that in there. Okay, 527-6084. All right. I'm going to go to the commercials, and when we come back, we're ready to go into the broadcast. So y'all just hold on a minute, okay? All right. Let's get up here.
Hi, everybody. I'm Tarhaka. Student loans, child support, credit cards, foreclosure debt, and much, much more are some of the problems facing my people. There's a right way and a wrong way to deal with these problems. Proper status in commerce does play a big role. However, we want to get rid of the so-called debt. Go to www.newdebtelimination.com. That's www.newdebtelimination.com. Let's get off the plantation. Let's not bog down in it. Let's get rid of it by getting rid of these debts. You got to get rid of the debt. If you're going to have a clean start, that's where to start. If you're opening a business, the first thing you want to do is get out of debt first. Once you get out of debt, now you can think about going forward and doing something different. www.newdebtelimination.com.
Okay, let's see where we're at now.
Hi, I'm Tarhaka. I have questions. What does it mean to be a creditor? What is a secured party? Just what does it mean, all rights reserved and without prejudice? Just what does it all mean? What is the law exactly? To know it all and to use it all, go to www.newdebtelimination.com. That's www.newdebtelimination.com. Get yourself together. Get out of debt now. Learn how to be a creditor and not a debtor. www.newdebtelimination.com. Call me directly. Tarhaka Monreal Bay, 904-303-9061. Before 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, everybody. Brand new day, brand new start. CTFO is booming today. Get your free website and back office right now. Go to www.tarhakadebtelimination.org. That's tarhakadebtelimination.org. You know, on February 5th at sundown, we'll be in the year of the pig in 2019. That's right. That's the money year. And it's time for you to go into business for yourself. You've been saying what you're going to do. Now's the time for you to do it. Get your free website and free back office by going to www.tarhakadebtelimination.org. Look to the left. You'll see a little button say CTFO. Brand new startup company. The hottest thing going in the country today. Now it's time for you to own your own company. Free back office, free website. Peace. All right, everybody. Brand new day, brand new start. CTFO is booming today. Get your free website and back office right now. Go to www.tarhakadebtelimination.org. That's tarhakadebtelimination.org. You know, on February 5th at sundown, we'll be in the year of the pig in 2019. That's right. That's the money year. And it's time for you to go into business for yourself. You've been saying what you're going to do. Now's the time for you to do it. Get your free website and free back office by going to www.tarhakadebtelimination.org. Look to the left. You'll see a little button say CTFO. Brand new startup company. The hottest thing going in the country today. Now it's time for you to own your own company. Free back office, free website. Peace.
You say that all whites are racist. Can you expound on that, please?
Any white person who was born, raised, and schooled in the United States of America. If you aren't a racist, you're a miracle. Either that or you decided to educate yourself. Because education in this country is about white is right, brown's all right, black's got to stand back. Yellow's mellow, but whites, we educate in a way that says that white males have done all the adventures, have made all the adventures, have done all the discovering, have made all, everything that is good and has been accomplished according to social studies, which is actually anti-social studies, by white males. It's a lie. But we do that in order to maintain the myth of white superiority. The myth of race has to be maintained at all costs in this country. Because if white people have to give up the color of their skin as being something that makes them perfect, what do they have left? If we start teaching the truth about history, if we start teaching about Nile Valley contributions to civilization, it will totally change the way we conduct ourselves in the classroom. It will have to. Columbus didn't discover America. You can't discover a place where people are already living. But we celebrate that every October. It's a lie. We need to get over. We need to stop telling the myths and start telling the truth.
So when you tell people that they're racist, and it must have some kind of effect, because most people will say, I'm not racist.
I'm not a racist. Why, some of my best friends are black.
Right.
Yeah, and then you say, name one. Or this one, I don't see color. And when some woman says to me, I don't see color, I say, I knew that. If you saw color, you wouldn't dye your hair that way. Or I say, if you saw color, you wouldn't wear that shirt with those pants. I believe that you don't see color. It's an attempt to deny skin color. And it's an attempt to deny what's wrong with seeing the color of my skin. Is it all right for you to see me kind of pink? That's okay for me. I don't mind. And I suspect that you don't mind being seen the color you are. You have a right to be what you are. And until people in this country and people in this world get it into their heads that the first modern human beings that evolved on this earth were black women. They evolved in sub-Saharan Africa about 280,000 years ago, and every human being on the face of the earth today has the memory of those black women's genetic structure in their genes. Now, we don't want to admit that, but that's the way it is. And as people moved farther and farther from the equator, their bodies produced less and less melanin, so their hair, their skin, and their eyes got lighter. As they moved into the east, they ate a lot of fish and a lot of vegetables, so their skin took on a different tone. I found that out when I was raising little kids. My husband worked in a supermarket. He was the head of the produce department, and they had lots of oranges that they couldn't sell, so he'd bring them home, and I was feeding my kids orange juice like you never saw in your life. They began to have an orange cast to their skin. I thought they had a liver problem. So I took him to the doctor, and she said, what are you feeding these kids? I said, well, lots of orange juice. She said, stop it if you want them to stop being orange. Now, if you think that skin color isn't anything other than the body's natural reaction to the natural environment, get over it.
So if all white people are racist, according to you, can they be reprogrammed?
Of course they can. Of course they can.
How?
Of course they can be. It's called education. I'm an educator. The word educator comes from the root duc dus, which means lead, the prefix e, which means out, the suffix ate, which means the act of, and the suffix or, which means one who does. An educator is one who is engaged in the act of leading people out of ignorance.
The seventh area is religion, and economics, education, entertainment, labor, law, politics, religion, sex, and war. The white supremacists, when they got the idea that they were going to establish something called white supremacy, they said we have to dominate these people in all areas of activity, including their religion, particularly their religion, because religion is what? A strong belief backed up by action. That's all any religion is. And the white supremacists said we're going to make white supremacy the strongest religion that has ever existed. They have succeeded in that. They are not in the process of doing that. Christianity Hinduism, Islam, Confucianism, Judaism, all of these other religions don't come anywhere close to being as strong as the religion of white supremacy. A strong belief backed up by action. So people are in complete disarray. Confusion, which is what the white supremacists do. They confuse people. Well, we got them confused. We're working on getting them all confused sexually. But we have long ago got them confused when it came to the seventh area of activity, religion. All of these dark-skinned people around here killing each other, hitting each other over the head with the Bible, having endless barbershop arguments about what Ezekiel meant or what Solomon did or didn't do or what Ruth said or didn't say. We got them confused. That's what we do. We take any holy book and we read it and we thoroughly add to it and subtract from it. And then we distribute pamphlets, or samples of it, that adds to the confusion. With our names on it. And we establish different type of churches and whatnot. Different church on every corner with a different name. Supposed to be the same religion, but we got a different church with a different name. Adding to the confusion. Go over here to the Protestant church. Oh, no, they don't know what they're talking about. Then go over here to the Catholic church. And, oh, no, they don't know what they're talking about. Well, what about Jehovah's Witnesses? Okay, well, we'll sample some of that. And they don't know what they're talking about. And then the white supremacists sit back, well, when it comes to all you dark-skinned people, you got one religion. And that's the religion that I say that you have. But I might say, depending on how I feel, that you will have all of them at once or none of the above. But you will bow down to one religion, and that's the religion of white supremacy. I don't care what you think in your heads, and you black people can argue all you want to in the barbershops over there on the colored side of town or in your millions of churches. You can scream and yell and stomp and holler, but when the white supremacists walk into your church and say, all of you, get on your knees to me, because I'm the one who feeds you, clothes you, shelters you, and even allows you to have a church on this corner rather than a parking lot. So you will do what I say, or you will feel my wrath. I'm your God, and don't you ever forget it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we had a little technical difficulties. The number to dial into this broadcast, for those of you who are listening through your computer, is 319-527-6084. That's 319-527-6084. You press 1 on your phone. We will be opening up the phone lines later on. You press 1 on your phone. That'll give me an indication that you got something to say, and we'll let you in. Okay? All right. It appears that my guest is in the queue. I'm going to open up area code 773. Dr. Walter Williams, are you with us? (773), Dr. Walter Williams, can you hear me?
Yes, Brother Talk, I'm here and ready to go. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. You're coming across loud and clear.
Okay.
I hope Sister Annetta is giving our folks the new number, because they sprung that on me. I had no idea. I put out all the advertisement and everything, man, and they done put a whole brand new number up here. And this is incredible, man. Boy, look here. They never quit. No warning, no notification, no nothing. But anyway, we're ready to go. And as we go along, I guess we'll be coming in, and all they have to do is just dial the 319-527-6084 number, press 1 on the dial, and we're ready to go. Now, Dr. Williams, this is a terrific subject, and there are a lot of people that are upset about this subject. They're scared of it. A lot of people are amening in it. It's coming from all kind of different angles. And I don't know if whether you heard the questions that I asked. Did the crucifixion of Christ really happen? Is a lie your friend? When in history did a crucifixion of Christ happen in the first place? What evidence outside the Bible do we have to prove that Christ was crucified anyway? What happened in ancient Egypt? Did a Jesus Christ ever exist? Because, see, my position is I look at the situation like this. If we have the remains of dinosaurs that we can see and touch all over the earth, and the mummies of the ancient African Egyptians are all over everywhere, in the Museum of London, over in Cairo, everywhere, and the ancient giants, they find their bones everywhere. But where are the remains of the biblical characters? Are they family members, for that matter, such as people such as Adam and Eve and Moses and Abraham and Isaac and Jacob and Jeremiah and Isaiah and David and Mathew, Mark, Luke, John? Where the graves at? So this thing is incredible. But what I would like for you to do, I'm going to yield the flow. And so you can give us a breakdown, because we're trying to get to the bottom of this thing and get the facts about what's going on. And while you are giving us this breakdown on this thing, I'm going to go ahead out to see if I can make people aware of the new number to call into this broadcast so we get these folks on in here and we can get other questions asked. So I yield the flow to you, my brother.
Okay, thank you, Brother Tarhaka. And I heard some of your previous guests that you had on the show, or recordings that you had recorded, such as Neely Fuller Jr., which is always bringing us good messages and good information into our African community. And let me get back on what you just got to stating. Where are these biblical characters that you named a few, more than a few, that comes out of the Bible? Where are they? Where are they buried? Did they walk on earth as human beings? The answer is no. Where were they born? They were born in the Bible. That's where they're born. And that's where they are staying in the Bible. But they are still alive today as long as a human being, an individual human being, believe in those stories that they are reading in the Bible about these different biblical characters. So they are alive and well in the Bible. They were born in the Bible. So a while back we had a program on the history of and the origins of the Bible. So if an individual who's listening to this program can go back and into our previous broadcast that we did some months back and listen to that program that we had on the origins of the Bible, they can learn a whole lot about the Bible. But let's move forward a little bit further, and we're going to deal with human history. If an individual human being realized that no human on earth was born with a religion, no human came here out of their mother's womb with a religion, and understand that they had and was given an indwelling divine spiritual birthright that was given to them by their creators. Their creators are their mothers and their fathers. Their mother and father created each and every human being walking this earth. And you got close to 80 billion humans of all races, creeds, and color walking this earth as human beings. But no human on earth was born with a religion. If an individual can really understand that, then they can really understand what about these various religions, because history, human history, will give you that information of understanding about these man-made created religions. All religions are man-made. No religion is comes from a human beings being born on this earth as a human being. In other words, when a human being is brought forth in this world, after their mother and father had a sexual reunion, or union rather, and the father's sperm impregnated the mother's egg and womb, thus causing the 9 months of incubation for that human to come forward in this world. That human being, after coming forward in this world from their mother's body, was attached to her umbilical cord, and her umbilical cord was cut to separate the human being that is now a child and an infant from their mother. That umbilical cord served 3 things for the 9 months of incubation progression for that individual human to come in this world. And that umbilical cord served and gave that development of 9 months for that individual to come here as a human being. Gave it food, water, and air through the umbilical cord attached to her. So after coming here as a human being, that umbilical cord is cut by the doctors. Doctors now has cut that umbilical cord, but the life that was created from the sexual encounter of that individual's mother and father now continues to surge through the body of that individual infant human being. Now, if an individual understands that they individually, no matter what race, creed, or color that you may belong to, was born with everything that you, the human being, will spiritually and physically need for the rest of your life. If you can understand that you have an indwelling spirit inside of you, and that is your indwelling divine spiritual birthright. And you have eyes, ears, nose, toes, feet, arms, legs, fingers, etc., etc. That's your physical part of your human anatomy. That's what you have. That's what you was given to at the time of your birth. So you were given everything that you spiritually and physically need. Spiritually inside of you, physically outside of you. So therefore, you understand that. Then you have a good foundation of understanding that all religions that are out here today, no matter what name you may call it, is man-made, created by man, for the sole purpose of controlling the thinking and the actions of man. So, again, no human on earth came into this world with a religion, okay? But you came with an indwelling divine spiritual birthright. Now, let's get to another section of understanding about these various religions. Now, you got 3 major dominant religions in the world. You have Christianity, you have Mohammedanism / Islam, and you have Judaism. Those are your 3 major dominant religions: Christianity, Mohammedanism / Islam, and Judaism. Now, let's get back to the most devastating religion that has devastated us Africans in this world, and that's Christianity. That's the most devastating religion that we as the African people can embrace, because at the core of that Christian religion is a dead white image on the cross that you have been trained as an individual African to call God. So when your enslaver, this individual white male who is now on the cross called Jesus Christ, and your Savior and your enslaver is the same, then we are in trouble as a race of people, African people. Now, where did this Christ come from? We have to use human history to really understand about Christianity. Now, for many years and even I've written a book called The Historical Origin of Christianity. In my book, that's been out for 26 years, going on 27 years, the thesis of that book is saying that there's never been a man that ever walked the earth in human form of any race, creed, or color by the name of Jesus Christ. Never existed. It's a hoax. So let's get to the bottom of this hoax, and we can find out how this Christ came about and what has been put upon the whole world as with this image on the cross being the dominant force of this instigated lie that has been brought forth by the Europeans. Now, let's go back in Egypt. You have to start there. You always have to start with the world's first and oldest civilization first. That's where you have to start. Okay? When you go back in Egypt and you study as much as you can about our ancestors, those Africans who brought civilization to all of humanity, you study about them, you will find that they, in their culture, did not have a religion. They had a spiritual way of life that was in tune with the universe. They used universal principles, laws of the universe to govern themselves in their everyday life. Okay? So therefore, they didn't have an image that they bow down to and worship and so forth and so on. But they had these laws that they knew, and they practiced those laws. And to sum up some of those laws, they called it Me'at. Me'at has 5 different laws and principles in it: truth, justice, peace, love, and wisdom. If you break all 5 of those components down, you will find that they are in tune with the universe, and they are laws of the universe. So, again, our ancestors, the ancient Egyptians, those Africans who brought civilization to all of humanity, those Africans who created everything that we use in the civilized world that is being used by all of humans in this world today, you will find that they had no religion that they practiced, but they had a spiritual way of life based on the laws of the universe. Now, let's go a little further. Now, they are over there in Egypt, bringing forth civilization for all of humanity. They're over there in Egypt, creating from their culture the rudiments of civilization for all of humanity, meaning that they created an alphabet. They were the first and oldest literate people on planet Earth. Why? Because they created an alphabet to do that. When you go to school, the first thing that you learn in school is your ABCs, your alphabet. That alphabet makes the individual human being literate, because with that learning of the alphabet, you're able to read, write, and spell. So that makes you literate. So, and then they, in their culture, they created all forms of mathematics. In order to have a building that we have all over the world today, you have to know mathematics in order to build a building. You just cannot build a building without knowing mathematics and being literate along with that knowledge, you see. So let's establish that. Now, let's go another place in history, another area. We're going to go to the area of when the Europeans first came into Egypt under Alexander the Greek. Now, mind you, the Greeks under Alexander's entrance into Africa, into Egypt, was the first Europeans to come into Egypt for the very first time. Alexander the Greek coming into Egypt in 332 BCE. Now, due to the fact that no other race of people or no other invasion of ancient Egypt ever took place prior to that time. So don't be confused by that, and don't be confused by the chronology of ancient Egypt. in my book that my wife and I are writing called Dispelling Myths of Ancient Egypt, in the second chapter in that book, I have a warning to all African scholars, teachers, intellectuals, and students. Do not use the chronology of ancient Egypt. Why? Because the ancient Egyptians never wrote a chronology or a history of themselves. They left us Africans and the whole world, and then they left us their history in monuments, stone monuments, art, and literature. So therefore, they did not write down a chronology of their existence or their time in Egypt. Okay? So therefore, don't use that. So getting back, here you have an invasion. For the very first time in ancient Egyptian history, had an invasion of Europeans. We never had an invasion of no other race of people ever coming into Egypt. None whatsoever. If you think so, and make a saying that I'm wrong, then bring me the facts. Okay? But let's go back. Here you have the Greeks now in Egypt under the guidance and the leadership of Alexander the Greek. Coming into Egypt, he saw the grand and great glorified culture and civilization that our ancestors, the ancient Egyptians, had been practicing for 9,668 years before the Greeks ever came into Egypt. So therefore, they were in awe over that. And they wanted to be made part of that. So they wanted to be accepted into our ancient Egyptian sacred society over there in Egypt. But our ancestors rejected them. Now I'm giving you a short overview of what actually happened, and to bring you up to the time through the advent of history, bringing you up to the time of when this Christ was created, how it was created, when it was created, and by whom. And that's very important because today's topic will lead you into another era, an era of Christianity. So let's go back. The Greeks wanted to be made part of the ancient Egyptian culture. And our ancestors did not take foreigners into their society. They did not race mix. So anyway, they came in and they took over. A lot of people say, well, if the ancient Egyptians were so smart, why did they let the Greeks take over? Okay, let's go back. The ancient Egyptians did not have any armies, nor did they have jails over there. They had no army or jail. They didn't need one. A civilized people don't have armed forces. Against who? Who you going to, everybody around them, and everywhere they went in the world, the people were peaceful. They didn't need no armed aggression against people to keep them out of ancient Egypt. Didn't do that. Didn't have to do that. And a civilized people don't go around with armies. An army is used to go and invade other countries, plunder that country, cut the culture of the people in that country off, and rape their women and take over and dominate them, change their language and everything else. Our ancestors didn't have that type of spirituality to do that. They had no knowledge of that. So here the Greeks come in with the sole intent, after getting in there, to take over, which they did. So again, our ancestors had no defense for them, just like the indigenous native Indian of America or the Americas. When the European came over here, he welcomed him over here. But the next thing you know, he had a musket gun upside his head the next day, and he was this European was taking over his land, which he did, and put him on a reservation. So you know that story. Now you go into China. China had an invasion of Europeans over there because the Europeans took control of Hong Kong for 150 years, and then just gave it back to the Chinese back in the late 90s of last millennium, the 20th century. So then you go into India during the time of Mahatma Gandhi, when the Europeans came over there and took over India. And the only way they got rid of the Europeans, not with an army, they disobeyed the orders that the Europeans was putting upon the Indians of India. Mahatma Gandhi told them to not honor. They said, you're going to have to be in your house by 9 o'clock at night. This is a curfew. He said, ignore that and go on about your business. So they kept ignoring the Europeans. The Europeans said, well, I'm not getting anywhere with my curfew and dominating these people, so I better pack up and leave. That's what he did. See? When the Europeans went into Hawaii, same thing. Took over Hawaii. The Hawaiians didn't have any armies to keep the Europeans out. Went into Alaska, took over Alaska. The same thing. So the European has a trait, a racial trait, that is innate in him to go in with the sole intent and take over people's country, plunder their land, rape their women, kill their children and the people there who resist them. So that's his nature. So now he's in Egypt now. Let's go back to Egypt. He's in Egypt now. There, he took over. They began to come over there in Egypt in droves. And they took over Egypt. And he wanted to be accepted into the priest-sacred society of ancient Egypt. Again, our ancestors, the ancient Egyptians, did not race mix. Did not race mix. And therefore, they did not allow them to come in. Now, they wanted to be made into a god. In other words, when Alexander came in 332 BCE, he lived 9 years, and he died in 323 BC. Now, BC dates you count down, and the dates that we live in you count up. Okay? So BC dates you count down, the days we live in today you count up. So when he died, one of his army generals took over the control and the rule of Egypt. His name was Ptolemy I Lagi, called Sotar. The word S-O-T-E-R means Savior. But then, if you have listened to me and followed me over the 4 years that I've been on air with Brother Tarhaka, then you'll know what the Sotar means. S-O-T-E-R means Savior. But anyway, that name was given to this Ptolemy. Okay? Now, he wanted to be accepted into the priest society of ancient Egypt. He also was rejected. So now the Melkite Coptic Egyptians, who were our ancestors, those Africans who are known in history as the Melkite Coptic Egyptians, they ran ancient Egypt. They ran the government of ancient Egypt. See, ancient Egypt had a government, not a rulership. Okay? So don't let nobody tell you any difference. Now, the Melkite Coptic Egyptians tried to appease the Greeks. Now, when Ptolemy I Lagi came to the Melkite Coptic Egyptians and said, I want you to make my image into a god. See? Now, when an individual have an image, your image is like you look in the mirror at yourself. There's an image there. If you take that image and freeze it and you walk away from the mirror, you still have that image there frozen in the mirror. Now, that image of you is your alias. You see? You can take that alias and do whatever you want to do with that. You see, it's like they made Richard Reeves alias Superman. You see? So now you got a different character now. Alias. And you can take that alias and do whatever you want to do with it. Attach any type of stories you want to do with it. You put any type of actions to that alias. You had 007, Sean Connery, who was alias 007, you see, or James Bond, you see. So you have these different aliases. So now here you have Ptolemy I, Lagi, called Sotar. The Melkite Coptic Egyptians trying to appease him to make his image into a god. They went into Memphis, Egypt, and found a priesthood there who was willing to take two of their deities, which was Osiris and the bull of Memphis, Apis, the bull of Memphis, and made a composite of the two names, Serapis. And they gave that composite name to this Ptolemy I Lagi called Sotar. Now, he is Ptolemy I Lagi called Sotar, alias Serapis, or Serapis now. He took his image. Now, his image is Serapis. So now, he went back to the priesthood of ancient Egypt and said, will you accept my image and into your priest society, your sacred society, and put me alongside of Osiris, Isis, and Horus? They says no. So he closed those temples down. This is in 320 BC. Now you got that Serapis now. Who is Serapis? Serapis is the image of Ptolemy I Lagi. Now let's take that Serapis and you take it through history, and that's what we're using, the discipline of history. The discipline of history. That's what we're using. So now when you take that image through the discipline of history, you take it through the 13 other Ptolemies. After the first Ptolemy, you had 14 different Ptolemies. The word Ptolemy means Greek ruler of Egypt. That's what the word Ptolemy means. So now, when you take those other 13 Ptolemies, along with that first Ptolemy, which you have 14 altogether, each Ptolemy sat on the throne of Egypt and ruled Egypt with representing Serapis. In other words, each Ptolemy, 13 Ptolemies that came after the first Ptolemy, became the vicar of Serapis. The word vicar means same as. So they tried to get this Ptolemy accepted into the priest society, rejected. So now, this is in 320. Now, BC. Let's go and fast forward up into the time of the Romans coming into Egypt in 30 BC. Okay? Now, in 30 BC, here come the Romans taking over from the Ptolemy Greeks, the Greek Ptolemies. You see? The Greeks had control of Egypt for 302 years, and now the Romans are coming in 30 BC, and then they did the same thing as the Greek Ptolemies did, trying to get the Serapis accepted into our African secular community in order to give validation to that white image called Serapis, the image of Ptolemy I the Greek. See? So they needed validation from our African community to give it any type of substance, and they knew that. So they were constantly trying to get that Serapis image accepted. So now we're up to the Roman. Now we're going to come up to, in my book, The Historical Origin of Christianity, I write 3 historical events that caused the Council of Nicaea I, the Ecumenical Council of Nicaea I in 325 to come about. And those 3 historical things are the Dinosaurs schismatic controversy, the strong statement by Arius, and the donation of Constantine. Very important. So you can read that in my book, The Historical Origin of Christianity. Those three things, the Dinosaurs Schismatic Controversy, the donation of Constantine, and the strong statement by Arius. So now, here's what the Melkite, after getting the donation of Constantine, which is very important. Constantine, after the Dinosaurs Schismatic Controversy, divided our African community in 302, 303 in North Africa, divided our community because Diocletian wanted members of our secular community and the African community to turn over certain sacred writings that came out of that community. And Bishop Donatus and the Metropolitan Bishop Secundus told Mansurius, don't do that. So he went on and did it anyway. And that caused a split in our community. And with that split being in our community, Constantine, who was a Roman ruler at that time, saw that split, and he took advantage of it. So he said, now, with these Africans, ancient Egyptians, in the secular community split, I can get in among that split and bring Serapis back again and get him into that community. So that historical endeavor is known in history, which I write about in my book, called The Donation of Constantine. The donation of Constantine goes like this. Constantine found a member of the secular community, Sylvester I, in 313, 314. He offered Sylvester this proposal. He said, Sylvester, if you could get your people in the secular community to accept Serapis, I will give you my imperial emblems on a temporal basis. And all you have to do for me is baptize me into your community and your African community. And I'll just be a part of your community, a member of your community. If you will do that, I'll give you all my power, all my emblems of power over your community, not over the government, but over the secular African community. So Sylvester accepted that. Then this brought on Arius. Arius said that Serapis was a created creature, dissimilar from the Father. A perfect creature, but a creature nevertheless. And those three things, the Dinosaurs Schismatic Controversy, the donation of Constantine, and a strong statement by Arius, caused the Nicene Council to come about in 325 CE, the Common Era. So they took the Melkites, called that council meeting. Constantine didn't have anything to do with it because he gave his authority away. So the Melkite Copts called that council meeting in 325 to try to appease this European Roman ruler over Egypt and over the whole African territory, in other words, Northeast Africa and Central Africa. Okay, the northern part I'm talking about of Africa, in the central part of Africa, and then all of Northeast Africa. But anyway, here you have the Council of Nicaea being called, and at the Council of Nicaea, what the Melkite Coptic Egyptians did now, mind you, Serapis already had the attributes of Osiris and Apis, the bull of Memphis. I already had that in Serapis. Now, at the Council of Nicaea in 325 CE, the Melkite Coptic Egyptians, took Horus out of the African ancient Egyptian divine triad. The African ancient Egyptian divine triad consists of Osiris or Asar, Isis or Set, Horus or Haru. That's the African ancient Egyptian divine triad. They went and took, the Melkites did this now. They went and took Horus out of that ancient Egyptian divine triad, and they replaced that Horus with this man-created creature called Serapis. Now, Serapis already had the attributes of Osiris. Now, they're giving him the attributes of the son of Osiris, Horus. So now they erased S-U-N out of that ancient Egyptian, African divine triad and put in the S-O-N in there. The S-O-N is who? Serapis. Serapis is now the son of Osiris and now the son of Isis, but he's a European. You see? So that's what they did at the Council of Nicaea I. No one else that I know of, historical or historians, are telling you this. But anyway, let's move a little further. We're going to move a little further, with you understanding what I just said, into the most important council meeting that was ever held on earth. It's called the Council of Ephesus. Now, mind you, all of these ecumenical council meetings that are held, the first 9 were held in Africa, in Northeast Africa, and Turkey. See, Turkey is in Africa. Nicaea is in Africa, in Turkey. Ephesus is in Africa, in Ephesus, Turkey. So in my book, I have a map of all the 9 places that these 9 ecumenical council meetings took place. I'm right there in my book, a map of Turkey showing you the 9 places where these 9 ecumenical council meetings took place. They're there. So all you do is look in my book, and go to the illustration table of illustrations, and you look it up, and it'll tell you where you find it. But anyway, at the Council of Ephesus, very important. Now, mind you, at the Council of Ephesus in 431, from the time that this image that we know today as Jesus Christ was made, now known, back then originally known as Serapis, was made in 320 BC. So from 320 BC all the way up to the Council of Ephesus in 431, it's a time of 751 years has went by. 751 years. So now you at this council that is known in history as the Council of Ephesus, and at this council meeting, in order to let's say satisfy the argument between the Monophysites and the Melkite Copts. Now, the Monophysites are Africans, and the Melkite Copts are Africans. The Melkite Copts are the ones who ran the government of ancient Egypt. The Monophysites came out of the secular community that was never in favor of accepting Serapis into their society. Now, their temples, after, like I mentioned before, after the refusal of not accepting Serapis into the temples, Ptolemy I closed all those temples down, so they had to go and use their homes for spiritual worship and to continue to teach their children, to homeschool their children. So now you have the Council of Ephesus. You have the Monophysite community, and you have the Melkite community. The Melkite community is now, has always been for 751 years, trying to appease this European, trying to give him what he wants, so he won't create any savage acts against them. Trying to keep it down because they knew the temperament of the European. So anyway, here you have a argument, a polemic between the Monophysites and the Melkites. The Monophysites coming out of the secular African community, and the Melkites coming out of the community of Africans, descendants of the ancient Egyptians. Both of them were descendants of the ancient Egyptians. Now they're fighting each other by way of argument, not physical, but by way of a polemic argument. The Monophysites said that this Serapis had no human nature. This is at the Council of Ephesus. And So therefore, it was the Melchites was out to get the Serapis a human nature. And as one knows, in order to have a human nature, you have to be born through the body of a female. You have to be born through the body of a female. You cannot have a human nature other than that. So now, at the Council of Ephesus, trying to get this Serapis a human nature, they created another created creature called the Virgin Mary by taking the attributes of Isis and the Ka of Isis to do that. The Ka meaning the spirit of Isis to do that. So they created non-human creature called the Virgin Mary in order to give this non-human created creature, Serapis, a human nature. See? So now, when this was done, the Melchite Coptic Egyptians amalgamated the two created creatures together. This created creature, the Virgin Mary, and this created creature, Serapis. And after the amalgamation was made by the Melchites of these two created creatures, the Melchite Copts said, now this is the Christos. Now this is the Christ. And in English, they were speaking Greek now. The Melchites were. They were speaking Greek. And in English, the Christos means now this is the Christ. So now, here you have the birth of Christ now at this Council of Ephesus. So you have a Christ. So now, the argument didn't stop there. With the Monophysites, 20 years later, they were still feuding over the human nature of this Christ now, not Serapis no more, it's Christ. So at the Council of Chalcedon in 451, 20 years later, they created two names to try to give this Christ a human nature. They created the word Persepone. In Persepone, you have persons in there, and they applied the name Persepone to this Christ now to make him have a human nature by using the word Persepone. And they applied another word, consubstantiality, meaning that he was the third person in the Trinity. You see? So therefore, trying to give him a human nature and make him human. So that still didn't satisfy the the Monophysite community. So let's move forward in history to get to my points that I'm trying to make. Now, 81 years later, after the Council of Chalcedon in 451, 81 years later, you come to the time of Justinian and his wife Theodora and the building of the world's first Christian church, the Church of Hagia Sophia, that was built in Constantinople, Turkey in 532, finished 5 years later, December the 27th, 537. That church was commissioned to be built by Justinian I and his wife Theodora after they commissioned African architects and African builders to build it. And those African architects and builders built that church over there in Constantinople, Turkey. Constantinople, Turkey is known as Istanbul, Turkey today. Istanbul, Turkey. But now, here you have the erection of the world's first Christian church and also the world's first seat of Christianity there in that church, the Church of the Hagia Sophia, of the Church of Mary and Christ. See, that's the first seat of Christianity right there in Africa, Northeast Africa. Now, we're going to fast forward. Now, in 1300, the Ottoman Turks took over the territory, most of the territory, 99% of the territories that was controlled and ruled by the Roman emperors. The Seljukian Turks and now the Ottoman Turks took over that land area. And in the 1300s, they established what is known as the Ottoman Empire. See, with the domination of the land area and the dominance of the land area that was once ruled and controlled by those Greek emperors, Byzantine emperors, now controlled by the Ottoman Turks over there. So now you have the threat of the Ottoman Turks for all these years, up until for 154 years, you had a threat of these Ottoman Turks to break through the double-walled city of Constantinople. Constantinople was a double-walled city, to protect that city and to protect that church inside of that city that was built to Hagia Sophia, the world's first Christian church and the world's first seat of Christianity. So let's go and fast forward up into the time of the enemy threat that was posed by the Ottoman Turks to break through that wall. Knowing that threat was coming, John VIII in 1439 went into Florence, Italy, 40 years at the beginning of the Renaissance Renaissance period of Europe, the European Renaissance era. He went over there and relinquished what is known in history as the donation of Constantine in order for that seat of Christianity that was in Northeast Africa, in the double-walled city of Constantinople, and in the Hagia Sophia, to be moved into Europe for the very first time. See, very important to know this. So, 6 years later, these over on the outskirts of Rome was the beginning of the Vatican as we know it today. It was the Moors who were asked to come over there in 1445 to build and lay out the Vatican. They came over there in 1445, and the Vatican was built over the catacombs, which is the burial grounds on the outskirts of Rome. So they used that area, dug up those bodies, most of them, and they began to build over the catacombs. And they began to build the Vatican as we know it today. Now, the Vatican as we know it today is nothing but a replica of the double-walled city of Constantinople. Replica. And they began to build in 1445 St. Peter's Church, known today as St. Peter's Basilica. St. Peter's Basilica, if you look at it today, and look at the dome that's on St. Peter's Basilica, and you look at the dome that's on the Hagia Sophia over in Istanbul, Turkey today, was Constantinople, Turkey. If you look at that dome on that once church, now today a museum, because in 1934, the American government established the Hagia Sophia to be a museum. Okay? So therefore, if you look at that dome, if you get my book, The Historical Origin of Islam, and look on the front cover of that book, you will see the dome of the Hagia Sophia. And you look at that dome and look at the dome that was built over there on the outskirts of Rome, in the Vatican, the Church of, St. Peter's Church, known as St. Peter's Basilica. That dome on St. Peter's Basilica is a smaller dome, but the same version as the one on the Hagia Sophia in Africa. Okay, so now you have now the seat of Christianity is being placed in Europe now. See? Now, what we have to do, what they have to do now, is to get rid of the Moors. See, the Moors was over there for 33 years, over building the Vatican and the Sistine Chapel. The Sistine Chapel was built by the Moors. The Vatican was laid out using Constantinople as a blueprint to do it by the Moors. And St. Peter's Church was built by the Moors. And now you have the seat of Christianity over there. Now, how do we get rid of these Moors? How do we erase what the Melkite Coptic Egyptians did over there in Egypt and in Turkey, Northeast Africa? How do we erase that from the minds of the people? How do we keep that away? So what they did in 1478, the Spanish government set up and created the Spanish and the Roman Inquisition. The Spanish and Roman Inquisition was set up in 1478. Ferdinand and Isabella set that Inquisition up. And they hired a man by the name of Thomas D. Tarhaka to be the Inquisitor General. He was also the same Inquisitor General for the Roman Catholic Church. So you have the Spanish and the Roman Inquisition. Now, the Spanish Inquisition meaning that the country of Spain, and the Roman Inquisition means at the same time the Spanish Inquisition was going on from the Roman Catholic Church. See, so they're going to get rid of the Moors with one swipe from two places, Spain and Rome. See, so now they got a clear erasure of the Moors who are descendants of the ancient Egyptians. The Moors, the name Moor is only a nickname, meaning that a Moor is a descendant, a direct descendant of the ancient Egyptians. We talked about that some shows back on this very platform that Tarhaka has provided for me to come on. But anyway, here you have these Moors being erased and taken out of Spain, to get rid of out of Spain and out of the Vatican at the same time. So now they are going to erase everything that they did in Spain. They're going to erase everything that they did in Europe, in Rome, in Europe. They're going to erase all of that, you see. And now they're going to, some of the Moors came over here in 1492 with Columbus, okay? And for 127 years, they set up a third civilization over here. But no one talks about that. They talk about one time of the slave movement started in 1619, okay? But they don't talk about the 127 years prior to 1619, and that was the time of the Moors, okay? Now, how did they get rid of the Moors over here after they used the Moors over here? What they did, you got to remember that the name Moor is a nickname given to those descendants of the ancient Egyptians after crossing and using the country of Morocco to do that, crossing into Spain. And that's all explained in the program that Tarhaka allowed me to be on some months back. So you have to go back in the archives and you can dig it up. But anyway, here you have, over here in America, now you got to get rid of the Moors. Now, the Moor, again, is a nickname given to the descendants of the ancient Egyptians by the Spanish-speaking people. They call, by them coming and entering Spain from Morocco, they call them black or Moors from Morocco. Black in Spanish means Negro. So therefore, over here, now they're getting rid of the Moors again. See? With the advent of the slave trade coming in 1619. So what they did, they took the enslaved African over in this country and put the Moors and the enslaved African under one umbrella, and they called them both Negroes. You see? So that's how they got rid of the Moors. Erased the history of the Moors. Now, the only inkling of the Moors that you can that was kept alive was by the Honorable Noble Drew Ali, who created in 1913 the Moorish Science Temple here in America. But anyway, that goes into another history. But anyway, to get rid of the Moors, they put the Moors and the enslaved Africans over here under one umbrella and called them both Negroes. So now the Moors is out of the way. You don't have no trace of the Melkites anymore. They've been erased out of history. How do you erase people out of history? Human history. You stop talking about them. You teach another theology to the masses of people all over the world. That's how you do that. Okay? So here you have now the seat of Christianity in Europe. But the world does not know how that Christ image came about. I know because I'm telling you how it came about historically. My book, The Historical Origin of Christianity, explains that. Some of the previous shows, again, that Tarhaka allowed me to come on, I explained that. I'm explaining it to you now. So therefore, they tried to erase, the historical origin of Christianity, which was created there in Africa, the image and so forth and so on. Now, the seat is in Europe. This is the point I'm trying to bring out. And from everything that I've said thus far, I'm trying to bring this out. When that seat of Christianity moved from northeast Africa, out of the double-walled city of Constantinople, out of the Hagia Sophia in 1439 by John VIII, going into Florence, Italy, relinquishing the donation of Constantine, and 6 years later they began to build over the catacombs on the outskirts of Rome, the Vatican. Now, you have today, as I speak, they began to create, now listen to this, listeners, they began to create a new Christianity, a European Christianity. That's the key. Now, how did they do that? They, in 1478, they commissioned an artist who lived on the premises of the Vatican, an artist by the name of Leonardo da Vinci, who was born in 1452, and he died in 1519. And in 1578, that's when the Spanish Inquisition came about. Leonardo da Vinci was commissioned to draw a painting of Christ. That painting is known as the Last Supper. It's only a painting, and they put and attached stories to that painting. They say that Judas Iscariot was going to double cross Jesus the Christ by taking 30 pieces of silver to do that. See, so therefore, this is some of the stories that they put to this picture, and they placed that into the minds of the believer. And they said that this is Christ at his Last Supper, the crucifixion, before the crucifixion. So this Last Supper was a painting drawn by Leonardo da Vinci. Never been a human being walking this earth by the name of Jesus Christ. Only by way of a picture painted by Leonardo da Vinci, you get the crucifixion of Christ. And you get the attached stories that's attached to that picture, fed to the believers, the Christians out there in the world. You see? Now this is the beginning of the of European Christianity. Now, as you know, let's go back into reality. On death row, in today's prisons, an individual human being is put on death row. And the day that they're going to execute him or kill that individual, they give that individual human being that they're going to execute on death row his last meal. He can have anything he wants because that's his last meal. So that goes back to the Last Supper of Christ before he got to be crucified. Only a painting now, with attached stories fed to the believer in Christianity. This is European Christianity. I call it European Christianity. And after the painting of this Last Supper picture by Leonardo da Vinci, he painted the crucifixion of Christ, this dead white image of Christ being crucified on a cross, being nailed to a cross. That's his crucifixion. See, they fed a story and added a story to that crucifixion. They said that the Jews brought Jesus to Pontius Pilate, and Pontius Pilate, the Jews wanted Pontius Pilate to kill Jesus, and Pontius Pilate said, well, I can't see what he did wrong, and so forth. Everybody knows that story. That's a story attached to that picture painted by Leonardo da Vinci. Okay? Now, after the crucifixion, you have to have a burial. So they went and they buried this Christ, took him down from the cross and put him in a grave, and they put a stone over the grave. Now you got to have the entrance of the coming of Mary Magdalene. So Leonardo da Vinci drew a picture of Mary Magdalene and put an attached story to Mary Magdalene. The story goes that Mary Magdalene came upon the tomb of Jesus, and she noticed that the stone had been rolled back. And she looked down in the grave where Jesus was supposed to have been buried, and she saw an empty grave. It was empty. See? So all three incidents was nothing but a drawing by Leonardo da Vinci. See? And that is what is being taught to the world today, and that is what I call Western academia. Now, this is what I want you in the listening audience to realize. Christ was created at the Council of Ephesus in northeast Africa in Turkey in 431, along with the non-human created creature, the Virgin Mary, to give this Serapis image a human nature. That I explained. So that's been at the Council of Ephesus 431 CE. So now from 431 CE until the Last Supper painting and the crucifixion on the cross and the burial of this Jesus, we're talking about 1,045 years later, this Jesus was crucified. This Jesus was eating his Last Supper. This Jesus was being buried. You see? Can you see what is happening to the whole world with this lie that's been put upon the whole world? You mean to tell me from the creation of this non-human Jesus Christ that was created at Ephesus in 431 and the non-human created creature called the Virgin Mary to give this Serapis a human nature, thus creating Christ after the amalgamation was made? They're going to wait 1,045 years before this created creature Christ die or be crucified, eating his Last Supper, and buried. So that's what I want to bring to the African community and to the whole world. They unleashed a monster on the world at that time over there in Europe, and that is called European Christianity when they unleashed that monster called Christ. And that's what I want to bring out to our listening audience today, Brother Tarhaka. And thank you so much for having me on today to explain to our African community, and I hope that they got some good understanding and some historical perspective on what I'm trying to bring out. Brother Tarhaka?
Okay. All right. Fantastic, Dr. Williams. So the bottom line is there couldn't possibly have been a crucifixion of a Christ because there had never been a Christ in the history of the world that ever existed in the first place.
That's
Fantastic.
Correct.
We got a complete, total breakdown on it. I see we got a couple of callers with their hand raised, but I'm going to give you a little quick break, and when we come back, I'll open up the lines at area code 312 and 609. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, the number to call into the broadcast is 319-527-6084. Press 1 on your phone, and that'll give me an indication you got to say, and I'll open up the line. Okay?
And there's one thing you have to get through your mind and keep it. Nothing that ever came from the European mind was meant to do anything but facilitate European domination of the world. Everything, every idea, every so-called religion was meant to dominate and to control. You were the ones with the illusions. Why is it that you are so naive? You let people redress something that you invented, sell it back to you, and enslave you through it. Our relationship with the people of the world and the fact that we created peaceful nations that had no word for jail because no one had ever gone to one, no word for old people's home because no one ever threw them away, grandma and grandpa, no word for orphanage. We did all of this, and over half of human civilization was over before we knew that a European was in the world, before he wore a shoe or lived in a house that had a window. Now, Africa has always and still is the prize for the whole world. We have always been the prize because we have always had and still have something that other people won't, think they can't do without, and don't care to pay for. Because we have always been the prize, we have been under siege for over 3,000 years. The main thing imperialism did, slavery and imperialism, they removed African people from the respectful commentary of history. When they discovered you, they began to prey on you. And what we have to understand now, in the period of superior brainwashing, is there is no European answer for African problems. Either Africans find a solution to African problems, or there is no solution, and if you don't find a solution soon, you go back into slavery. We have to stop all of this nonsense about who belongs to what religion when all of them were imposed on us in the first place. We stop all this fight between Muslims and Christians when neither one of the religions are doing them any good or moving them toward independence. All of them are handmaids of conquerors. All of them are religions of conquerors. We were naive when we accepted their interpretation of something that we had all along. I'm saying we need to take a good look at ourselves. I'm not talking about burning churches. I'm not talking about getting rid of religion. Understand me well. I am saying that every single thing that touches your life, religious, socially, and politically, must be an instrument of your liberation, or you must throw it into the ash can of history. We've been the victims of propaganda. Now, the Bible that you get so dewy-eyed over is one of the greatest pieces of propaganda ever written. If you want to read the Bible, why don't you read the Bible one day and read Mein Kampf the next day and see the comparison? That's hard on your mind, because you think if you don't have Christianity, Islam, or Judaism, you don't have to have spirituality. I've got more spirituality after I put all of them down. A lot of people need to stop reading some religious books and read some straight history without fables, without suppositions, without myth. Read straight history. The Europeans doing the slave trade not only read the African out of history, They colonize history. They colonize information about history. And what you have to do is take a holistic look. Now, that's not only at your position in the world, but your potential in the world. But if there are a billion of you on the face of this earth, scattered all over the world, what do you need with a friend other than yourself? Why can't you turn inward on yourself and say, I will wear no clothes I don't produce. Start with your underwear. I wear no shoes that's not made by a brother. You're creating a shoe factory, employment at once. Start buying aeroplanes, break them down and study them, and later on make aeroplanes. What this whole thing is about is the restoration of confidence. It has been the role of these handmaidens of colonialism to destroy your confidence in yourself. We produce the first human society that says you can't be a king unless you got a queen. You can't be a god unless you got a goddess. We got confused with someone else's ideas, someone else's concept and definition of us. What we have to understand is that faith has not spared us for an idle reason. What is there in us that made us strong enough to take this heavy blow? 500 years of slavery, one way or the other. Slavery, neo-colonialism. What made us strong enough to survive? What is faith saved us to do? And inasmuch as we gave the world its first humanity, faith has saved us to give the world its last humanity. What we have to do is to believe it, to believe that we are worthy of it, and to believe that we are capable of it. What black studies should be about, what black religion should be about, is the restoration of the confidence. And the restoration of the confidence is we must rule the state again. Then, in coordination with other African people throughout the world, we will give the world a new lease on life. We must answer the call of the great African-American poet, Margaret Walker, who said, let the dirges end, let a new peace begin. Let us write a new covenant for the freedom of ourselves in the world. African men throughout the world need to step forward and answer Sister Margaret and say, Sister Margaret, we have heard your call. With our women at our side, we are ready to pick up the challenge. We are ready to start a revolution that will change the world. We won't get ready tomorrow because tomorrow's things are left to tomorrow. We will start our revolution right now, and we will start it with ourselves. Thank you.
Hey, I'm a lonely baby, and I'm lonely
and it's time to open up the phone lines. If you have a question or comment for our guest, Dr. Walter Williams, press 1 on your phone. That'll give me an indication that we have something to say. I'm starting with area code 312. Area code 312, you on the air. What's your question or comment? Tell us who you are and where you're calling from.
Oh, I'm calling from Chicago, Illinois, Windy City. This is Brother Yoel.
Brother Yoel. All right, man. Let me have it, man. What's your take on this thing about this here magical crucifixion on something that never happened in the first place? What you got to say about that?
Well, ain't much to be said on that subject like that, but I often, and I'm sure people might be like me and wondering why and where and who decided to fabricate or to bring this story out that has, I guess, probably, y'all would probably agree that it's something that has maybe confused and confounded a whole lot of people for a lot of years. Would you say yes, Professor?
Yes.
Professor Williams, would you say yes? Yes. Okay. So I would say so. So now, to create such a work, I think whoever the creators are of it would have to be of pretty sharp mentally when it comes to foresight, insight, and because if it's been those as many years as it has, and it is confused and kept a whole lot of people in the dark, that's not that wouldn't I wouldn't say that would be a some lame brain cat or some lame brain people for that matter who would put together such a magnificent piece of work that would confuse and confound people for the length of time that it has. And with that said, the question becomes then, therefore, why did they create such a work? What did it do? What did they accomplish by creating such a work? And spiritually, how does that all play into things with respect to life and man and woman on planet Earth and where they're going and what that has, the profound effect that might have on us as a people? That's a question.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, now, that question that you asked, it's very simple. They wanted to move forward in this world and dominate this world, which they have done, a white supremacy. White supremacy was created by the white male, the European male. He has had control and dominated this planet that we call Earth for 2,351 years. From the time of Alexander coming into Egypt in 332 BCE to this very date that we're speaking today. He's been in control for 2,351 years, simply because, number one, they wanted what our ancestors had, the ancient Egyptians, had gone in their culture in Africa, in Egypt, during the time of antiquity. Like I said before, our ancestors had a civilization up and running for 9,668 years before the Greeks ever came into Egypt. So my answer to you is for the completion of male white dominance called white supremacy and white superiority. That is the main thing. And if you listen to those previous lectures, speeches by Neely Fuller Jr. And Dr. John Henry Clark, whom Tarhaka played just a moment ago, that your answer is right there. The bottom line. Anything that the white male will do around this world and have done around this world is based on white supremacy. It's the base foundation of his actions. It's intended for that. So you can take that, and you can, with that understanding, you can take that, and that will answer every question that you had or have in your mind to ask.
Okay. So how does predestiny and destiny play into that? Do you see that playing into it?
Well, you can stop all of that. The human being can stop that. In other words, we as a race of people, and African people who are descendants of the ancient Egyptians, can stop all that destiny and predestiny by stop going to churches, stop bowing down to this white image on a cross, stop adhering to white supremacy. Know what you're doing. Know what has been put upon us. Know what has been taught to us. Know what has been taught away from us on purpose. We can stop all that just by changing our mind. We can control our own destiny by doing that. See? So we can eradicate that question by putting into our power our own control of our own destiny. So that'd be my answer to you.
Okay, y'all hold on a minute. I got another caller with us, hand raised at area code 609. 609. I'm going to open up the phone lines and let them get in. Area code 609. Tell us who you are, where you're calling from, and what's your question or comment for our guest.
Okay, I am Dwayne Green, and I'm calling from New Jersey.
Okay.
I'm calling from New Jersey. And I just got a comment, that's all. Just wanted to thank you, Brother Tarhaka, for doing the fantastic job. Absolutely fantastic. And it's just really, I'm very thankful that you have your program on. It is really a blessing to me. And I hope you're reaching millions of us because we really need you to keep up the good work that you're doing.
Well, I'm doing the best I can. I ain't got no boat, so I'm going to have to move kind of slow.
I also want to talk to Dr. Walter Williams. I want him to know, Dr. Williams, you have been a profound person in my life. You changed my life for the greater, and I'm no longer shackled and enslaved to the religious Christianity. I have read your book. I have the historical origin of Christianity. I also read your other book, the historical origin of Islam. And I'm telling you, it's absolutely eye-opening. I just want to thank you so much for what you've done. These books that you've written are just absolutely the most profound books I have ever read. I'm telling you. I want to thank you for that.
I want to thank you for calling in and telling me what you just told me.
And I also want to let you know that a lot of the books that you had mentioned, one of them is The Outline of History. I purchased that one. And I also got the other one you mentioned, the original Torah. I got that one. And but let me just do a point here. I just want to mention two more books that really give credence and substance to what you are talking about in regards to Christianity, which is it's a shame that when the Africans were brought over to the United States, there is this religious guy named Charles Colcock Jones, and he written a book called The Religious Instruction of the Negroes in the United States. And he actually written a book to the slave masters to tell them how they are going to change and persuade and by any means necessary make the Negroes Christian. I mean, he had instructions and everything on what they should do. And also, there's a companion book to this by Kamal Makizi Tahuti. He written a book called How to Make a Negro Christian. So all of this takes place, subsequent to the arrival of the Africans coming to the United States. And it's how they have to make all of this stuff. They come out with all of this stuff to change, to defeat, to persuade, to beat down all of the Africans, because it's written here in another book I'm reading. It says, we were not Christians coming to this dungeon called North America. We must keep in mind that enslaved Africans were not Christians when they were brought to the New World. So I was just reading an excerpt of one of the books here. But it's just profound how you brought the history aspect of everything, and all the way up to even the fact that we arrived here on this U.S. soil, and we were beat down and made to change that, what we originally were as Africans, and were from subsequent to arrival beat down and enslaved and shackled and made to believe in a falsehood, which I'm glad you've written your book, because you really made it very important for us to recognize that that's not who we are. We're from the bloodline of the ancient Egyptians, and I'm proud to say that. I want to thank you so much, Dr. Walter Williams. You are really, really inspiring. You really are. And thank you too, brother Tarhaka. I'm saying for allowing this avenue for Dr. Williams to put forth that. So I just want to thank you so much, Dr. Williams. You are really. I just hope that so many people can get your books. Because they are really good. They are the best thing ever. The best that really changed my life. I feel so good. I don't know how to explain how good I feel.
I can feel it.
Book. Yeah, I really feel good. I really feel good. And I want to thank you.
Quite welcome, brother.
Yes, I just wanted to let you guys know that was my comment, and I just want to thank both of you for doing the good work that you're doing. And please, I hope you guys reach out to so many of us, because we are a lost group of people, but I believe we can make it back to where we come from. I think we can do that.
Right. Absolutely. And thank you again, my brother. I certainly appreciate your comments. Your comments are very inspiring to me. That gives me more fuel to continue my research and study, and keeps my enthusiasm going forward into the endeavor of studying our history and bringing forth more information so I can help in the liberation of our African people. And thank you, my brother. I certainly appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. And may I hotep to you.
Yeah, may I hotep. All right, brothers. All right now.
All right.
Thank you.
May I hotep. All right, we got another caller down here at area code 727. I'm going to open up the phone line. Hello, 727. Hello, who are we speaking to? Where you calling from? What's your question or comment?
You talk to George Mosley.
All right, Brother Mosley, what you got to say to our guest, Dr. Walter Williams?
Well, earlier I was going to comment on what you were saying about the reason why the European fabricated the image of Jesus, because it's all about white supremacy, in my opinion. And they wanted to say that the Son of God is white, like they are, therefore they are divine. And since God created the world, that means his descendants are the heirs of the world. So they can run everything. They are justified in their, ruling of everybody and everything, which put everybody else in danger when someone has that type of ego or attitude that, hey, it's all mine. You're just here at my convenience or grace. The other thing is the emails that you sent me earlier today. I mean, they're nowhere to be found. I've been spending the last 7 hours going through and through looking for. I saw the information, and I was beginning to study, and for some reason, my mistake was that I failed to put it on a thumb drive. The next time that you send me the files, I like to be ready to put it on a hard drive so I have it because.
Okay, Brother Moses. And I'm glad you mentioned that because I need to give some shout outs to a few folks that have gotten our secure party and credited package. Congratulations on my brother up on Detroit. He's done a magnificent job. Another brother out in California, a sister down in Georgia, and another sister out in Texas. Congratulations to all of you. Just keep up the good work. Make sure you trust as solid as a rock, and just keep it moving. But I appreciate you calling in, Brother Mosley, and thank you so much for your comment.
When can I expect?
I'm going to have to get back with him. He's going all the way back over in law. We ain't ready for that. I'm going to have to call him later. Ladies and gentlemen, the number to dial into the show is 319-527-6084. Press 1 on your phone. That'll give me an indication that you got something to say. I'll open up the phone lines and I'll let you in. Okay? Just press 1 on your phone. Dr. Williams and Brother Yoel, we'll be right back. I want to hear from the police. They are white folks, police. Hold on a minute.
Hey, friends, and, well, let me be honest. Probably before this video is over, some of you will consider me as an enemy. But I wanted to share a couple minutes about my thoughts, not only on the tragedies that we have been experiencing over these past months, and especially these last couple of days with the shootings of our black men, but what I'm coming to learn over my 23-year journey of being a white man, living and ministering amongst my black family here in several inner cities of Chicago. And I'm going to speak very black and white because, let's be honest, it's a black and white issue. I want to take you to the book of Exodus, chapter 1, and I wanted to share a little bit of what took place prior to the rise of Moses. When I read that, it talked about that the Pharaoh became concerned and very fearful that the Hebrew slaves were growing in number and in power. So in order to maintain their oppression, he put upon them great labor. He put upon the Hebrew slaves cruelty to keep them down. However, they still grew. And so he brought together some midwives, and he instructed them that when a Hebrew boy was born, kill him. Well, these midwives did not follow, and the Hebrew slaves continued to grow. Eventually, the Pharaoh became so hatred towards those Hebrew slaves that he made a decree. He put out an order that male baby boy Hebrew slaves were to be killed by casting them into the Nile River. Let's look at America. We brought blacks into this country as slaves. We never intended them to be anything other than a slave. But they began to grow in number and in power, and eventually they fought their way to some freedom. So we became even more cruel, and to keep our black Americans down, we lynched. But yet they rose. So then we used the welfare system, the criminal justice system, to keep them down, to contain them, to destroy them. But yet they rose and they're rising. Then we built prisons and jails to hold them. Yet they rose. And so now we are doing exactly what the Pharaoh did at the end, sending out a decree, kill them. So until we admit that when we wrote this Constitution that all men are created equal, that we never intended to include our black brothers and sisters, our nation may end up facing exactly what the Egyptians faced when they refused to let God's people go. So I'm going to say this to my white fellow Americans, that the bloodshed that is on its way is not on the hands of our fellow black Americans, but is on our hands. We are the ones that are refusing to let God's people go. We are the ones that are refusing to acknowledge that we do not value our black brothers and sisters as equal individuals or equal Americans as us white men. And to my black brothers and sisters, the racial issues, as I've said, have been there from the very foundation, but why do we see it more? Because there's a shifting. See, us white men have been at the head since the foundation. But we've had a black president. And you know, we've done everything in our power to keep him from really changing things. Now we have another minority rising to the top, a white female. What does that say? Those of us who are white men who have been at the head are now starting to see and fear that we are going to become the tail. And we know what we've done to you. And so now we're fearful that you're going to do to us what we have done to you. But I will say this. I've lived in a black community for 23 years. I've never been treated the way that this country has treated my black Americans. So I call out my white Americans to say we better heed, repent, acknowledge, and change. Because if we don't, I just want to again say this. The bloodshed that we will experience is on our hands, not the hands of our fellow black Americans. I welcome your comments. I welcome your feedback. Hit me up on Facebook or go to my web.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. Just going to run a little bit of that. Dr. Williams, Brother Yoel, you still with me?
Yes, can you hear me, Brother Tarhaka?
Yes, sir, you're coming across loud and clear. What about you, Brother Yoel?
I'm here. Yes, sir.
Okay. Now,
I want to say this, Tarhaka, before you get started. My wife, Arnetta, since you have a new phone number, she's been sending out the new phone number all around the country to everybody on our list. So
okay, good.
I just want to let you know she is playing a big hand in seeing that other people who had the old number get the new number. Okay?
All right. Man.
That's what I thought for that, yeah. Okay, go ahead, continue. I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, brother, I extended an invitation to Brother Yoel to come down here to Florida so he can be out there on the beach with us. And you want to tell him how it went for you? tell him how it went, brother Dr. Williams.
Yeah, I saw he had a 10 when he got back.
Yeah, I had a very, very good time. My wife and I, Arnetta, we had a very good time. for the 2 days that we were in Jacksonville, Florida, and that was the very first time I met my dear and great brother, Dr. Tarhaka Amani Bey, and that's the first time we met each other. And then he took me and introduced me to some conscious member of the African community in Jacksonville, Florida, such as Brother Umar Sharif and Sister Sharon. She was there, and a whole lot of other brothers and sisters was there, which I was delighted to meet. After hearing their lecture, I understand why they were made part of the program there. And then I met also two of my students came down that I never met before either. Two females out of North Carolina. They drove down for the very first time to meet me for the very first time. So that Jacksonville on August 18th was a very important day for me and my wife Arnetta, and we were on the beach there, and Brother Talk was frying fish, and he makes some of the best water I ever tasted in my life. It tastes like it comes from the Nile River or something like that. So I just want to say that, Brother Yoel, since you couldn't make it, you missed something, and but we hope that in the future that you have time to come down, because I'm invited back to Florida on February, I believe it's the 15th, of February, Black History Month, and they're going to feature me in an all-day lecture there and a workshop, and I'll be teaching. I'm not going there to lecture. I'm coming there to teach and have this workshop, and at my workshop I'm going to reveal some very, very important information that is vitally needed in our African community in America, which they're not getting from no other source. But I'll have that information for them. So I'm looking forward to going back into Jacksonville, Florida on February the 18th, February the 15th, I believe, Black History Month. So, and that's 2020. So I'll be looking forward to going back to meeting with the African community again. But this time I'm going to go a day earlier because I didn't meet a lot of the conscious African community in Jacksonville, Florida. By the time I got there, they were not there, or they had closed their business, or they were scattered. So I'm going to take a full day. My wife and I, we're going to have a full 2 days, really, because the lecture and the teaching, the workshop is going to be on that Sunday. So I'm going to have Friday and Saturday to go around meeting the community. But like again, I said that my wife is the one that caused us to have a lot of people that are listening tonight, because she called around using email and texting and so forth, the new phone number to the new show. Okay, and Emma, my sister, great sister Emma McGowan from San Francisco, she was one of the ones that got the new number also, and I'm sure that if she's on there, and I want her on here, that she has a lot to say about the same subject. So again, so if Emma, if you're out there, if you have anything to say, just press 1, and you're right there in the space in the cube that we're in, where you can talk to us, and you can talk to the rest of the listening audience that are in tune, are tuning in on this program. Brother,
all you have to do is press 1 on the phone. Just dial in 319-527-6084. Press 1 on the phone. I'll open it right on up so she can get in there.
Right.
But anyway, Dr. Williams, I thoroughly enjoyed you and your wife coming down here, and I wish you could have got a chance to meet the rest of them, but we didn't get a chance. But Brother Yoel, he got a chance to meet almost 200 other ones down on the beach. And, they was down there, had the business going, and guess who else came down there and gave us the libation?
Who was
it
that?
It was the Marcus Garvey weekend. It was Marcus Garvey's son came down there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Man, I couldn't believe it, but he was there. He opened up for us, and they brought the drums down there, and the vendors was all around, and they was all the way up from Miami, all the way across the country, from up north. Everybody was down there. It was a beautiful day. We got a little bit of rain, and but after that, we didn't get no more. I got from down there just in case we got some more, but we had a wonderful time. Sure did.
Yeah, the rain didn't last for about 5 minutes or so. You know, every time it rained about two or three times. But each time it only lasts about 5 minutes each. So you know,
we had the tents up. We was good.
Right. Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Everybody, you know, that's where we do the Marcus Garvey weekend. That we do it there. Sometimes we do it in another place, but I really prefer doing it down there because plenty of space. Good nice beach sand. We got provisions, electricity, water, and then we got the ocean right behind us. And I really would have loved for you and your wife to walk up the hill with me, just stand there and look at the ocean. But you was having a ball just sitting right where you were. So,
right.
We'll get it next time.
Right.
But okay.
Y'all don't rub it in, okay?
Well, we trying to shake you up because we want you down here. We trying to.
All right, I'm gonna shoot for February and see if I can make it now.
All right. Okay. That'll be loose for you, cause we're gonna be down here, and you get down here, we're gonna take care of you. It might be a little chilly, but we're gonna have plenty of heat. So just come on down here.
Now in February it's gonna be. It should be a lot warmer than it's going to be here. It's going to be real chilly here. It ain't going to be more. It's going to be more than chilly here, okay?
Well, I know y'all up there in the Windy City, man. It's cold up there. But there's a difference between y'all cold and our cold. Now, when it get cold down here, it gets in your bones down here.
Mm-hmm.
But winter cold is a different type of cold. So I've been told. I mean, I was up in Virginia, and it got cold up there, and I was like, hey, man, I ain't used to this kind of business. I got to get back down to Florida. They tell me, man, don't you want to go to the restaurant? I said, no, I want to stay in the house. I don't want to go nowhere. They're trying to show me around and shut out, man. Just hold it a minute. Wait till the temperature change, because I can't do it, man. I'm a Florida boy. I had to have some sunshine. But back to our point, I want to talk about the devastation of the minds of our people who are still involved in Christianity and who are still refusing. You know, brother, I just found out that Malcolm X came here in 1960 down here in Jacksonville, Florida. And he wrote a letter back to Elijah Muhammad. He said the brothers and the sisters in Jacksonville, Florida is the deadest of the dead. But if they ever wake up, the white man is in trouble. That's what he wrote Elijah Muhammad and said to him. But I had no idea. I wish I would have knew he was him. I wish I would have.
Mm-hmm.
I was a young boy, but I had to find a way to get over there if I had to ride a bicycle. Hear Michael, man. Well, now the devastation. What y'all think, man? How devastating you think this stuff is, man?
Brother Tarhaka, is Sister Emma? Are you there?
No, she hasn't dialed in yet.
She hasn't dialed in yet.
No,
okay.
Not yet.
Well,
319-527-6084.
Well, she got to be listening to get that number, though, huh?
Well,
yeah, she's already been given the number. What What is her area code? What is the last 4 of her number? Do you have that?
No, I don't. Let me see. Let me look it up. What is it?
8633. All right, let me go down here because she ain't pressing one on that phone. Let me see if it's her down here. Area code 415, last 4 digits 8633. Sister Emma McGowan,
that sounds like
you?
S.
Are you there, sister?
We might have took too long for it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll shut it on down. If she gets back, all she got to do is press 1 on the phone. But the devastation, man, we got 48 minutes to go on this thing.
Well, you know what? If I will, before Professor Williams weighs in, I think the greatest thing of all with this in this piece is that we're born on the side where we're coming out of the deep sleep and comatose we've been in. So we should be consider ourselves to be very grateful that we are on this side where we're being waken up by books that written by Professor Williams and other folks who are writing materials and who got talk shows like you got here and bookstores like the Underground Bookstore here in Chicago and stuff like that, and even the so-called internet, you know. So that's a signal that we coming out of the state that we're in, because it has been devastating, you know. But you know, still, as Maya Angelou said, still you rise, though. You know, so a lot of us fell through the cracks here, and we wasn't supposed to be thinking like this and talking like this in these days. So, but you are. So, and he's throwing everything at you, including the kitchen sink, and you're still standing. So, that's the greatest thing that I can see right now. And if we keep on trying to seek after learning or finding who you are, then and your history and your glorious history, you will find it. You know, so I think we just need to focus on that and continue to focus on that, and we will eventually come out of this totally. Because in the future, my theory is that the farther we go into the future, the more we're going to awaken, and everything there is that I've read speaks to that. So it's going to happen, whether this man and his white supremacy allows it to or tries to prevent it or not. It's going to happen. Ain't nothing he can do about it.
Okay. Well, Dr. Williams, before you get started, I got a caller with his hand raised. I'm going to open up this line at area code 972. Area code 972, you're on the air. Tell us who you are, where you're calling from, and what's your question or comment for our guest.
Hey, Brother Tarhaka, this is Sister Sharon. Hey, Dr. Williams. And
hey,
I'm glad that you remember me from the Marcus Garvey weekend.
You hear, Dr. Williams?
Yeah, that might be a tip off here. He must be a tip away himself.
Yeah, that's cool.
You hear
but
me?
Either way, I just
you hear me?
Now.
Yeah, okay.
Yes,
well, like I said before, yes, I remember you, because now you're a part of my life because I met you. See, once I meet people that I like, I keep you in my index, in my conscious mind, and in my spiritual mind, and you're there forever. You know, so
that is a wonderful thing, because I definitely want to be there.
Yeah. So,
but I just wanted to comment on this your last subject there, question about how devastating and everything this is to our people. But I'm kind of siding on the side with Brother Yoel. I just think I can see the difference in more and more people. Of course, we got to keep getting the message out there, but even if I go to work, I meet people on my job that I would think that would never be conscious and then getting around talking to different subjects and find out that they're just as conscious as I am, or striving to be even more conscious every day. And even some of the no-sayers, they're still the Christians that I work with. For instance, there's this young lady that I work with there. She's a Jehovah's Witness. And so she found that we used to go to lunch. She wanted to go to lunch. Every time I try to dodge her, she'll find a way to sit down next to me at a lunch table. She called herself trying to convert me.
Well,
but
what you do?
No, I was doing the converting, because every time she come with me with one of her theories on Jesus and the Bible, and I tell her my opinion about it, and then I tell her, just come to me. Can you give me proof that any of your story existed other than the Bible? Can you give me one reference, just one reference other than the Bible?
Okay.
Anything, and I say, you'll have me sold. So, boy, and for weeks, we were in training for like 8 weeks, and every week she would come up with something new or send me to a different website. And all it was doing was going right on back to the Bible. I say they still ain't got nothing yet. Well,
see, Sharon, what you do, you ask her one question. Ask her, say, "Are you a Christian, aren't you?" She says, and she's gonna say, "Yeah," right?
Mhm.
You ask her, "Why are you a Christian? Why are you a Christian?" And don't say nothing else after you ask her that question. Why are you a Christian?
That's a good one. That'll keep her going for a while. She'll come back.
That'll keep her off of you. Why are you? And listen, Sharon, don't let her ask you a question after you ask her a question. Say, no, don't ask me no question. I ask you a question. Answer my question. Now,
right.
Until you answer my question, I don't want to talk about no Christianity, no Jehovah's Witness, no Bible, no nothing. Why are you a Christian? Don't let her ask you no question. Don't let her take the conversation to another way. Say, no, don't go that way. You're taking me away from my question. I asked you, why are you a Christian? You see?
Well, it definitely was interesting, and she's yet to convert me, but I think I'm on the verge of making her think through some of her stuff.
Okay, great. Well, then keep on. You're an agent for your ancestors, the ancient Egyptians.
That's right. But either way, it was beautiful meeting you, Dr. Williams, and I hope I will be around when you come back down in February. Looking forward to it. Got a few people lined up that I know I want to meet you and hear you and listen to you, so we'll be there.
Okay, Sharon, I'll be looking forward to seeing you and meeting you again, and anybody that you bring there, I'll greet them with love and affection, and we're glad to see everybody down there. So I'll be there.
All right. Tell your wife I said hello.
Okay, will do. I will tell her that. Yeah, we talk about you from time to time.
All right.
All right. Bill at Hotel, sister. All right. Okay, we got some new callers to come online. All you got to do is press 1 on your phone. That'll give me an indication you have something to say. I can open up the phone line so you can get in. And the number to call in is 319-527-6084. Press 1 on the phone. That'll give me an indication that you have something to say. All right, Brother Yoel, how can we get a hold of them books, man? Give us an address and how we can get a hold of you and all that good stuff.
Okay. You can always call Underground Bookstore here in Chicago, and that's telephone number is 773-768-8869. 773-768-8869. You can call, of course, and I don't know, I guess we must be from a different school of thought, because I would rather call than to do all those other methods like that some people would like to do in terms of emailing. But you can email me as well at the Underground Bookstore at gmail.com or Underground Bookstore 1 at gmail.com, and that's the number 1, not spelled out, but the number 1. gmail.com. So the underground bookstore at gmail.com would be that's two email addresses that they can use to get in touch with me that way to get the books. So now our website is down, of course, right now. My son's supposed to be fixing that, working on that. But I think I'm going to have to get somebody else to work on it because he's been working on it for a little while now. So,
okay.
Yeah, well, you got to do what you got to do. We got to move on, So that's here in the big windy city of Chicago, and that's what they can do in order to get in touch with me.
Okay.
Did you say something?
Dr. Williams.
Yes, sir, Brother Tarhaka.
How we going to get them books again, man, and how we going to get in touch with you?
Well, you can email me at ancientegyptian@msn.com. Ancient, ANCIENT, Egyptian, EGYPTIAN, @msn.com. And if you email me, put your phone number there, and I'll call you back. And if you want to further have a conversation with me, put your phone number there, and I'll call you back, and we can go from that point. Now, you can buy my books, my two books. One, The Historical Origin of Christianity, has been out for 26 years. The thesis of that book is saying that there's never been a man that ever walked the earth in human form of any race, creed, or color by the name of Jesus Christ. Never existed. My second book, The Historical Origin of Islam, has been out for 16 years. And the thesis of that book is saying that there's never been a man that ever walked the earth in human form of Islamic tradition. This Prophet Muhammad never existed. And you can buy those books, of course, from Brother Yoel, the Underground Bookstore. And I believe he gave his phone number out. I'll give it out to you again. And his phone number is 737688869. And also, you can, in your city or town or where you live, if there's an African bookstore, most likely that African bookstore will have both of my books. If you don't have an African bookstore, you can go online and order the books from Amazon. They have my books, and you can order from that point. Those are the three places you can order the books: Underground Bookstore, a local African bookstore in your community or town or city, or go online to Amazon and you can order my books. So, again, that's how you can contact me. So
okay, Dr.
Williams.
Hmm?
You know, it's funny. The year before he published and released his book, the store was being set up here in Chicago to carry his book. And the year after he published his book, Yoel was put in place to carry the book 26 years or 25 years later here in Chicago. How about that?
Wow. Magnificent. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, y'all, we got a caller calling in at area code 301. I'm going to open up the phone line and let him in. Area code 301. Tell us who you are, where you're calling from, or what's your question or comment for our guest.
Yeah, my name is Ronald. I'm calling from Maryland. And I was,
hey, Ronald.
How you doing? And I was asking
Fine,
Dr.
brother.
Williams if he got any books, any other books coming out in the near future.
Dr. Williams, did you hear that?
Yeah, I heard Ronald Clinton. You know, I have a book coming out in the near future that my wife and I is co-authoring this book called Dispelling Myths of Ancient Egypt. And we are still working on it. And it's not easy to write a book, especially a history book. And you got to do so much research. And it takes years to do research and write the book where you can put your research about the subject that you're writing in the book, so the reader can really understand what they're reading. So, and then we have our personal lives. We have so much interruption in our lives that there's interruption that causes us not to have a continued working on the book like we should. But anyway, it's coming.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Brother Ronald, we appreciate you calling in, man. Dr. Williams, we're going to take another little quick break, and we'll be coming right on back. And so if you just hold on a minute, we'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay, everybody. CTFO is booming. Get your free website and back office right now. Go to www.tarhakadebtelimination.org. That's tarhakadebtelimination.org. We're going into the year 2019, and it could never be more exciting. On February the 5th at sundown, we'll be in the year of the pig. That's the money year, and time for you to go into business for yourself. CTFO is booming. Free website and back office. Now, you know, getting a back office usually costs you quite a bit of money. But here you get it absolutely free. You got your own company, and you can make money with CTFO. Products are outstanding. Go to www.tarhakadebtelimination.org. Hi, everyone. This is Tarhaka. My new website is online and visible now at www.tarhakadebtelimination.org. That's TARHAKADEBTELIMINATION.org. All you have to do is subscribe by putting in your email and click send. I'll rush you my free report. That includes the information you need on big tobacco and how to get paid. Much more. New website is up and running. TarhakaDebtElimination.org. Just subscribe, and I'll rush you my free report, which includes everything that you'll need to know about big tobacco and much more information whereby you can make money. TarhakaDebtElimination.org.
This is Moorish Talk Live 100. Thanks for listening. We'll be right back. You don't have to lose your home due to foreclosure. You don't have to worry about child support. You don't have to be in credit card debt. Have no fear. Tarhaka Armana El Bey is here at newdebtelimination.com. Got student loans, child support, mortgages? Contact someone who's got the experience and the knowledge to get you back under God's law. That's Tarhaka Armana El Bey. He's been there, he's done that, and he can prove it. Just give him a call at 904-303-9061. That number again is 904-303-9061. And log on to newdebtelimination.com. That's newdebtelimination.com and get yourself free.
I don't think hell exists. I happen to believe in life after death, but I don't think it's got a thing to do with reward and punishment. Religion is always in the control business. And that's something people don't really understand. It's in the guilt-producing control business. And if you have heaven as a place where you're rewarded for your goodness and hell as a place where you're punished for your evil, then you sort of have control of the population. And so they create this fiery place, which has quite literally scared the hell out of a lot of people throughout Christian history. Mm-hmm. And it's part of a control tactic.
But wait a minute, you're saying that hell, the idea of a place under the earth or somewhere where you're tormented for an eternity, is actually an invention of the church?
I think the church fired its furnaces hotter than anybody else. But I think there's a sense in most religious life of reward and punishment in some form. The church doesn't like for people to grow up, because you can't control grown-ups. That's why we talk about being born again. When you're born again, you're still a child. The people don't need to be born again. They need to grow up. They need to accept their responsibility for themselves and the world.
What do you make of the theology, which is quite prominent these days in America, which is that there is one guaranteed way not to go to hell, and that is to accept Jesus as your personal Savior?
Yeah, I grew up in that tradition. Every church I know claims that we are the true church, and they have some ultimate authority. We have the infallible Pope, we have the inerrant Bible. The idea that the truth of God can be bound in any human system, by any human creed, by any human book, is almost beyond imagination for me. I mean, God is not a Christian. God is not a Jew or a Muslim or a Hindu or a Buddhist. All of those are human systems which human beings have created to try to help us walk into the mystery of God. I honor my tradition. I walk through my tradition. But I don't believe my tradition defines God. I think it only points me to God.
You and I are emerging people, not fallen people. Our problem is not that we are born in sin. Our problem is we do not yet know how to achieve being fully human. The function of the Christ is not to rescue the sinners, but to empower you and to call you to be more deeply and fully human than you've ever realized there was the potential within you to be. Maybe salvation needs to be conveyed in terms of enhancing your humanity rather than rescuing you from it.
Life is a startling...
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. And Dr. Williams, are you still with us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I sure can. I had to take certain pieces of that little bit of plug there I ran, and I just throw away the rest. It is amazing to me how once you clearly understand the system, you can look through all the garbage. But this thing is amazing, man.
You got that
right. A big fat lie, and a lie is not your friend.
That's correct.
Well, it's difficult for people to comprehend that, because the way I see it with basically the people that I have dealt with, they have this thing in their mind that, well, maybe some of what he said was true. Well, no. You, all that's true. You got to get rid of the whole lie. You don't throw away part of the lie and keep the other part of it, and because all of it's a lie. And I mean, we've ran several plugs tonight, and everybody pretty much said the same thing. Hell is invented. All right, so we got people believing that there's some mysterious God up in the sky somewhere. He's everywhere, and he knows all. He's omnipotent, omnipresent, and all that. And he's got 10 things he does not want you to do. And if you break one of these 10 commandments, then you're going to go to hell. You're going to burn forever and ever and ever and be tormented. And all of this here. However, he loves you. He loves you. And he's all powerful. He's all wise. He's everywhere at all times. But he has a money problem because every Sunday he needs a little bit more. Right. And it is amazing how we buy into this concept. You get to 30, 40, 50 years old and get mad with somebody if they ask you, well, have you ever seen God? Or have you ever seen Jesus? Where hell at? What side of town is on? Well, these are, according to them, these are foolish questions. This is foolishness. You shouldn't question God. I said, well, according to who? Why not? I'm not questioning God. I'm questioning you. You the one I'm questioning. It's amazing, man. But nobody think about it. You talking about some big time BS. It is amazing. I moved into my home in 2005, and I have yet. You see the big old church across the street from my house. I have yet to be able to walk out my house on a Sunday and sit out in my front yard and relax, maybe have me a glass of wine, listen to me some good jazz. I have yet to do it. I went out there early this morning, and I sit down in the chair. I mean, it's a beautiful day. Nice little breeze, temperature just right. I said I would love to sit here and listen to me a little music and just relax because I got a show to do tonight. But I can't do that because as soon as I got comfortable, here come a Jesus joker, a Bible thumper, pulling up across the street, and they finna take over the whole day. And if I go in there and raise my window up and sit down and play me a little Barry White or something, a little LTD or something, that is, you know, he need to come over here and get Jesus. Something like that. Since 2005, you know. Right. I paid my mortgage, you know, but I'm unable to do it. Since the day I moved in here, I've been unable to do it. And next thing you know, the whole parking lot out there full, right in front of the house, and then I can hear him jumping, hollering and shouting all the way across the street from about 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning until 2:30, almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Every Sunday, every Thursday. Sometimes I have my friends, I say, well, man, y'all come on over to the house, man. And on a Thursday night, I'm not doing anything. We sit out there and like to put up a tent or whatever. But we got to sit there. So they're going to come over there and have another hullabaloo.
Wow. Yeah. That's what's going on.
Really, yeah. Brother, see, you ain't got nothing like that going on in your down over there where you at, is you?
Say that again?
Brother Yoel?
No, I don't have that. I don't have any of that going on over there. I think that's a test for you, brothers, Tarhaka. That's what that is. That's your test. You know, they trying to see if you really believe what you believe.
Oh yeah, you should. They ought to know it by now. But sometimes I crank up me some music. I get tired of it, and I'm out there, and they call the police on me. Police come on and say, by the way, could you cut it down a little bit? But I like that music playing. You know, I say, yeah. I said, well, I ain't, you know, all I call the police on them every Sunday because I can hear them all the way across the street. In the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus. I mean, he got the doors closed and you can hear this hymn. Every Sunday and every Thursday night. Well, this is what I had to go through since 2005. In my own home.
14 years.
Yeah, sometimes I get mad, and I say, well, okay. You know, I just chill out, you know. So I'm really tired of that. I went over there one day. Hey, do you believe in Jesus? I said, no. Oh, it was in a state of shock. They had a cookout over there one time. And I asked a young lady that was over here, I said, well, you want something to eat from over there? She said, yeah, I'll try to see if they got something. We went over there, and they said, well, we got and it was real funny. They said, we got chicken, we got baked chicken, we got fried chicken, we got barbecue ribs. I said, oh, wait a minute. I said, I don't eat no pork. He said, you eat no pork? I mean, they was in a state of shock. The cook come out the kitchen, he peeping around the corner. Who that say they don't eat no pork? I said, wow, man. It is amazing. But anyway, gentlemen,
wow.
What kind of last words we got?
Well,
go ahead, Joel.
Yeah, I think that my last words is always that we're knowing where and who we're from, we need to start looking into the mirror and seeing ourselves as those people, and so that we can start to break the spell that binds us to that false identity of who you are, you know, so that you can become those great and mighty people in body and mind. That's what my last words would be. We need to not only look at the legacy that they left in terms of their architecture and their building and whatnot, but the mindset of those people and become those people. Start becoming the Imhoteps, the Tahuti, the Thoth, or whatever you want to call them. You know, we want to start becoming those people and walking in their shoes again, because that's what we need to be doing right now.
And what people are you talking about, Brother Joel?
I'm talking about the ancient Egyptians.
Okay, well then bring it out. Don't be afraid. Don't be ashamed.
Well, we ain't talking about no. We ain't talking about nobody else but them people right now. So
I don't know that. I don't know who you're talking about. Gotta bring out the ancient Egyptians. Very important.
Okay, so you saying clarification breeds no questions.
Hey.
You clarify that.
Okay.
You're right.
We got hey y'all, we got Sister Emma McGowan and press one on her phone. Let me open up her line.
See what she got to say.
415. Sister, that's you know what?
I've been listening and I haven't had a lot to say, so I didn't say anything. But anyway, I think we need to stop giving them people so much energy and power, because every time we mention white supremacy and even Donald Trump's old name, we're giving them too much power, and they stay in our consciousness when we do that, because that's the intent.
Yeah, this is true.
And then when we act, sometimes it's like talking to people, they say, well, I can just tell you what Christ did for me. Then I don't talk to them. I don't talk to them about their religion no more. Because how you go convince a person who believes that Christ has actually done something for them?
Yeah, of course.
But they don't realize it's their own consciousness, their own healing. People don't know their own powers that they have, and they're always giving them away to somebody else. I mean, truly. I mean, that's how I feel about it. Now, I don't know. But they need to stop giving it so much energy. Because they give white supremacy a lot of energy, and you know what? We can kill it by not putting it in our own consciousness, and maybe just keeping what the history is about the ancient Egyptians that we want in our consciousness. We'll get there sooner, I believe. But if you're talking about how the people are keeping us from ourselves, we don't. You know what? That's obvious. If anybody live in this world and can't see that, shame on them. Okay, shame on them. Okay, as they say, Ray Charles and couldn't see that. Okay, because so the thing. What I'm saying is, we got to stop giving things that doesn't deserve the power and the energy, because energy takes on its own legs, and we know that. And it's
I'm in agreement with that.
Yeah.
That's
because
right.
you thought your channel up in order to get on this radio, right? Walter had the intent of teaching these people this stuff, but we keep blocking it with some other crap that we don't need in it. I think it's just that white supremacy and all that mess. They just distracting because they always in our consciousness, and we always teaching around them without even really thinking about it. That's why I don't look at Trump. I don't look at him because people talk about him. I said, why don't you just stop looking at him? You give him too much energy. And he knows that. That's why he stays always on the airwaves. Stop giving him that energy by looking at it. I know people have to know what's going on. I understand that. But sometimes we just go a little bit too far with it.
Well, I don't look at TV.
Well, good.
Unless I'm on it.
I heard that. That's what I'm saying too. We all know on one level, we can what we think about, we bring about. I mean, seriously, because everything's a thought before it becomes a thing.
That's right.
So why is it any different when you're talking about all this white supremacy? People say money is power. No, because money is something that we have. All
Ain't no
the
difference.
It's a transfer. No difference. See, nothing in this world, taught or not taught, and we know the truth in our heart, but we don't. We are taught every way to not trust that heart and that sense that we know. We are all knowing already. We just don't trust it.
So what you're saying is when they bring it up, we just say, been there, done that. What's next?
Whatever's right for you. But don't put it in your conscience. Because you know what? The average person is not thinking, and not to say that I am, they're not thinking that in depth because when we hear something over and over and over and over, we're operating from the subconscious. We're not operating from a conscious mind. Why do you think commercials work? You find yourself singing them. I mean, it's simple stuff you could think about, but know why they keep doing what they're doing. They wouldn't spend that much money on a commercial, millions of dollars. Super Bowl, you may have to pay $2 million a minute, 3 or 4, whatever the market will bear at the time. They got us convinced that AI, artificial intelligence, will take over. It has already taken over because we believe what we hear most of the time. Because what they do, they repeat it, and it becomes part of your truth. You have to be really mindful of what you taking in and not question it.
And sometimes we got to do a checkup from the neck up and remind ourselves of that. What you're doing right now.
Exactly. All the time we got to do it.
Because we forget it.
Right. That is the truth. We forget. That is so true. Because we are taught not to even care about ourselves in this whole society. Okay? I mean, just look at what has happened since that man been in there. I mean, all this stuff. People feel like they can go out and just shoot people. They got their frustration. They can go walk out their door and take it out on somebody. All that kind of stuff. I want to be the biggest serial killer. I want to be the biggest school killer. All that kind of craziness. Well, come on now. If that's not setting the consciousness, I like to know what is. And so the same energy that we give to them, we can give to the people back without even saying a whole lot of stuff. It's like when you walk in somewhere. The people come, they listen. They want a change in their life. They know it's not really working for them, but, that's all they have. And, it's a good thing about teaching them the history. Teaching the history, forget about who did it and what did it. When they know the history, it makes more sense, okay? Because what they're going to have to do is try to figure out why did the white supremacists want to do that. We don't need to know that. Let them. We know they're doing it. We know why they're doing it, because they're still doing it. So I say get the information and the rest of it, like mentioning them, talking about what they did, we give them too much energy.
That's right.
That's my last day. that's all I really have to say. Because what Walter is saying, he's telling the truth. Because it's like I told my sister when we walked in the caves in Egypt and saw the trilogy triad or whatever you want to call it. I'm saying, wow. I said, wow. That's where these people get this stuff. I said, whoa. I mean, right away. It wasn't like I had to go home and think about it. Go back to the hotel and think about it. When I first saw it, I said, oh, wow, look at that.
I hear you. Well, sister, you said a mouthful of night, and I'm glad you joined us.
Well, I am too. I was listening first because I said, you know what, I ain't really got a lot to say, but I'll just say what I feel as I go.
You put the period at the end of the sentence.
Dr. Williams, you with us?
Yes.
Now?
What was that again, Brother Tarhaka?
We down to 8 minutes. Can you hear me?
Okay, I'm glad that Sister Emma came on because she's a profound thinker. She's a profound thinker in our African community at this time in world history. And we need people like her, especially females, because the male dominance is over with, okay? Especially the European male dominance is over with. And the male period dominance is over with. So we got to get back to a different mindset. And the female has a different mindset. So with her different mindset and her thoughts and her energy and her love and her spirit, the world can change. But it's going to take a female to do that, to get everything back in order. It's going to take people who are direct descendants of the ancient Egyptians, who call themselves African Americans, black and Negroes, to get back to their homeland. Their homeland is waiting for them in the continent of Africa, in a country called Egypt. That's where our greatness is lying over there, unclaimed. We have to get back there and claim our greatness. In order to, for us, the 40-something or 50 million Africans living in this country, who are in this country, living in this country, who don't have a nationality or national identity, we're going to have to go back and find our way back to ancient Egypt and claim our ancestry and ourselves as being descendants of those great and grand and glorious people, those Africans who brought civilization to all of humanity. That's where we got to go back to. We got to go back to the pyramid. On the back of your dollar bill, there's a pyramid there that our ancestors built over there in the continent of Africa in Egypt. And that is the greatest monument that's ever been built by man. And no human on earth has figured out the mathematical formula as to how our ancestors, ancient Egyptians, built that pyramid. So therefore, if you look at on the back of the dollar bill that you carry around in your wallets, your pocketbooks, and your purses every day that you live in America, if you look at the top of that pyramid, you see a round ball there. That's the sun. You see it's an orange looking ball. That means that the sun is penetrating there. That means that that's our position. That's our position, that we're supposed to be the top and not at the bottom. I read a book in 1939 that was published in 1939. No, in 1939 I was 8 years old. But anyway, this particular book that was published called God Wills a Negro, published in 1939 by Theodore P. Ford. He said in that book that the ancient Egyptians vanished and the Negro appeared. So there you have it, right there in our faces. So you have to go back to ancient Egypt. But before you go back to ancient Egypt, you're going to have a spiritual have to clean out all that garbage that's been taught to you all from the beginning of your consciousness of your life. You're going to have to clean that out of your conscious mind and your subconscious mind and start all over. But you have to start it with you being a descendant of ancient Egypt. Go back to ancient Egypt. That's the only place that you can go back in order for you to get some understanding as to what happened to our African ancient Egyptian ancestors after the Greeks came into Egypt. Very important. If you don't go back to ancient Egypt and start from that point, you're going to be confused. Get all these religions out of your mind. Get all religious literature, the Bible, the Quran, the Torah, all that junk out of your mind. You don't need that in your life or in your mind to gum up your life and your minds with that garbage. Get that junk out of your mind. Know that we, as African people in America, I'm talking about the ones in America now, the 40-some-odd and the 50-some-odd million of Africans living in this country, we're the greatest Africans on this planet that we call Earth. And we're the only ones that has the key. If we use the discipline of history, starting with the knowledge of our ancestors being the first and oldest civilized people on earth who brought civilization to the world, we can change the whole entire world, because the world of humanity, as I speak, is following us. These Africans living in the United States of America who identify themselves as African Americans, Negro, and blacks. The world is following us. They're waiting for us to give them the next signal for the movement of liberation for their minds to come out of this dilemma that these religions have put all of humanity in. We got to get rid of that. It's a dilemma. We don't need that anymore. We got to go back to and find our greatness and bring the world out of this foolishness and destruction that this ruling power, so-called ruling power of this white male, and dismantle him. He don't have the power if we go back to ancient Egypt and tell the world that you're an ancient Egyptian, that you're a descendant of an ancient Egyptian. All white supremacy will fall flat on his face. So we, like Sister Emma said, stop giving that power. Take back your own power, because when you go into these churches, you are giving away all of your power to that dead white image on the cross and white supremacy. So stop it. You don't have to do that anymore, but you have to know who you are. As what you have to know something about your own personal humanity. You have to go back and clean out your mind. Give your mind a spiritual enema and clean out all that garbage in there and go back to the very beginning of human history and go back to and find our way back to our great African ancestors, those ancient Egyptians. So that's what I have to say at this point. Brother
Okay,
Tarhaka.
Dr. Williams, I thank you for being on once again, and we will be coming back in the future. We're going to go ahead and convert this show into a video, and we'll be putting it out. And I thank you so much, my brother. I'm going to go ahead and close down. We're down to 27 seconds. And you all have a good night. I've been your host, Tarhaka Amon El Bey, and until next time, good night.
It's an old school thing, and it ain't hard to do. but you can see